Hello everyone, my name is Sophie Campman and I am a PhD candidate at the Public Health Service of Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And today I will be presenting our research on the intent to vaccinate against SARS-CoV-2 and its determinants across 6 ethnic groups living in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. The pandemic of SARS-CoV-2 has disproportionately affected ethnic minority populations, as they especially experience high infection, hospitalization, and mortality rates. Therefore, ethnic minority populations should be especially encouraged to receive SARS-CoV-2 vaccination. However, data from the United States and the United Kingdom have suggested that many ethnic minority populations hesitate receiving SARS-CoV-2 vaccination. In Amsterdam, however, only relatively little is known about vaccination intent against SARS-CoV-2 in different ethnic groups, while the majority of its population has a migration background. So therefore, the aim of this study was to investigate the intent to vaccinate against SARS-CoV-2 in 6 ethnic groups residing in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and to explore determinants of SARS-CoV-2 vaccination intent for each ethnic group separately. This study was part of the HELIUS study. HELIUS is a population-based, multi-ethnic prospective cohort study in Amsterdam, for which people of Dutch, Surinamese, Ghanaian, Turkish, and Moroccan ethnic origin were randomly selected from the Municipality Register of Amsterdam and invited to participate. In total, approximately 25,000 individuals participated in the HELIUS baseline visit between 2011 and 2015. We conducted a 2-visit longitudinal COVID-19 sub-study nested within the HELIUS cohort. During the sub-study visits, participants were tested for SARS-CoV-2 antibodies and completed questionnaires. The first sub-study visit took place between June and October 2020, and the second sub-study visit took place between November 2020 and June 2021. For this study, we analyzed data of 2,068 HELIUS participants who were aged between 24 and 79 years, who participated in the second sub-study visit between November 23, 2020 and March 31, 2021. The Dutch SARS-CoV-2 vaccination campaign started in January 2021, so during our study period, vaccination was gradually offered to people working in healthcare and people who were older than 75 years in the Netherlands. During the second sub-study visit, participants additionally answered 2 questions on SARS-CoV-2 vaccination intent. These questions were answered on a 7-point Likert scale, and responses were combined into a mean score and categorized into low, medium, and high intent. Using ordinal logistic regression, we examined the association between ethnicity and lower vaccination intent. We also modeled a broad range of determinants of lower vaccination intent for each ethnic group. Determinants included general socio-demographic, psychosocial, comorbidity, and access to health-related determinants, as well as specific COVID-19 related determinants such as infection history, perceptions, and communication. We constructed final multivariable models by excluding variables with a p-value higher than 0.05 in a backward stepwise fashion, and we did this separately for each ethnic group. Now let's move to the results. The median age of our study population was 56 years, which significantly varied between 50 years in the Turkish and Moroccan origin groups and 60 years in the African Surinamese origin group. The slight majority of our study population was female, which did not differ significantly between groups. And as you can see in this figure, high intent to vaccinate was most common in the Dutch origin group and least common in the Moroccan origin group. This figure shows this table shows the association between ethnicity and lower SARS-CoV-2 vaccination intent. Participants of other than Dutch origins were significantly more likely to have a lower vaccination intent than participants of Dutch origin, both before and after adjusting for a month of study visit. And when compared to the Dutch origin group, participants in the Moroccan group were most likely to have a lower vaccination intent, again both before and after adjusting for a month of study visit. We also identified some determinants of lower intent to vaccinate against SARS-CoV-2 that were common across several ethnic groups. First, we saw that participants who believed that COVID-19 was exaggerated in the media were significantly more likely to have a lower vaccination intent than those who did not believe that COVID-19 was exaggerated in the media. And we saw this in all ethnic groups except the African Surinamese origin group. Second, we saw that females were more likely to have a lower vaccination intent than males in 4 out of 6 groups, namely the Dutch, South Asian Surinamese, Turkish, and Moroccan origin groups. And third, we found that being under 45 years of age was a determinant of lower vaccination intent in the South Asian Surinamese, African Surinamese, and Moroccan origin groups. And other identified determinants were specific to certain ethnic groups. So in conclusion, we found lower intent to vaccinate against SARS-CoV-2 in the largest ethnic minority groups of Amsterdam, which is a major public health concern. Generalization of determinants across ethnic groups might be inappropriate as we identify different determinants in different ethnic groups. Therefore, determinants that we observed in our study could help shape interventions and campaigns toward ethnic groups. And our results have, for instance, been shared with prevention teams that operate in Amsterdam's city districts and were used to offer tailored interventions such as providing informational materials to mosques and at markets. Additionally, we will soon start analyzing the association between vaccination intent and vaccination uptake in ethnic groups, as data on uptake have recently become available. Lastly, we would like to thank all HELIUS participants, the supporting staff, and the contributing authors. And to the audience, I would like to say thank you for listening, and please feel free to contact me with any questions or comments.